Okay, I'm going to do a video today about a recommendation for holidays, for Christmas, a deck that I think might be interesting for people. And it's a beauty, and it's an oracle deck, not a tarot deck, but who could use these? I think certainly tarot readers could use it because tarot readers use all kinds of decks. But it's also for astrologers, or if you're interested in astrology and are just beginning, I think it's a great beginner's book for learning astrology as well. And you can kind of, it's very clearly written, and the cards are just so beautiful, and there's a lot of cards. This deck is a reissue of a deck from Carolyn Smith and John Astrop. They're famous for their books and their art over the generations, actually. And it comes in a beautiful box set, in a very nice book, full color. And the cards are, if you're concerned about the cards that are, high end, these are not high end, but they're quite lovely. They're easy to shuffle, and I like them a lot. The pictures are gorgeous. Okay, so here's the deck. 84 cards, I think, or 86 cards. It's a huge number of cards. And then here's the book. Now, the book itself is really, really interesting because it talks a lot about, it explains things. If you don't know much about astrology, or if you're more of a, maybe even intermediate, I think you'd find it interesting. It's for beginners. It talks about an introduction, the language of astrology. It gives your symbols for the astrological symbols and the astrological symbols for the planets. It has this wonderful chart that has the houses, the planets, and the signs. So this is a great reference chart here. Each sign, your astrological sign, is associated with a planet, is also associated with a house. So automatically, like, I think a lot of people know what their sign is, their sun sign, and they know, Leos are, they're egotistical. They can be egotistical. They're bright lights and all that. So here you have the sign of Leo, generosity and leadership, and it is the planet of a Leo is the sun, and it's the fifth house, which is creativity, love, and enthusiasm. So the houses kind of mirror both the planets and the sign, and that's important when you do layouts. Now, so that's important, and then it explains everything in very easy, simple language. Now, this book, the cards don't go all the way up. They don't include Uranus or Neptune. They include the Sun and the Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. And it talks about why those were the original planets that they used. And of course, the Sun and the Moon aren't planets, but those were what they used for astrological purposes. And then we have the houses. And yeah, I've never seen the houses. These are nice little summation of the houses. And here's the layout that you would lay out your cards in. It's this way it goes counterclockwise. And then we have the what each house means. And it's nice because they have this question, very easy to remember kind of keywords. Here's the questioner, property and finances, brothers, sisters, and communication, parents and home. 5 is children, creative matters, and love affairs. So it gives nice keywords for those houses. So that's really nice. And then it gives you your 12 signs. These are your astrological signs, little summaries of them. Then we get into the cards. And the cards they're numbered as well as color coordinated, as well as the design of the card shows which planet or sun or moon it's under. So let's just pull one like this. This card here, it's got this diagonal, so it's a Mercury sign. So we know this is Mercury. The Mercury is also listed here. I think that's Mercury, right? And then also listed, the color is kind of this beigey color. But it's also, you can see the layout, and you can tell from the layout. Like here's another Mercury, Now here's it's got the 2 and the 1, and that's a Mars, and that's, of course, the color there. And there's the Mars sign. And this is, I believe, Sagittarius. Is that Sagittarius? Sagittarius and Mars. Mars and Sagittarius. Anyways, so we'll go into those cards in a minute. I just want to show you this book. So then it goes into your sun signs, and then it has a very nice, very, very nice book on each card, page on each card. And the personal, and it talks about the reading, if you find it in reading and events. And it's just, it has the Mercury, and it has the sign. So you get to learn the signs. And it's just a wonderful little book. And it's not, you can make it as complicated or as simple as you want to. And I think you can, this book and this deck, you can just start using it however you like. Now, the readings, they have some layouts in the back, which are, they have the house readings. And it pretty much goes 1, and it goes around to 12. And this is the first house, second house, third house, fourth house, fifth house, etc. When you do a reading, you are always number 1. It's about you, number 1 position. But let's say you have a reading, you want to know about a job, and if you should be keeping a job, or if how to do better in your job or something. So one of these has to do with job. Now I don't know my houses, so let's just go back here. It says employment, career, place in the community, number 10. So that could be here, number 10. So you fill out this whole area, and then you flip over the first one, the 10 one, and then what other ones seem to be appropriate to your question. So that's how you would work with the houses. It's actually very, I was a little confused in the beginning, but then I realized, oh, it's that simple. So you just lay out all 12 cards, and you just flip the ones that have to do with your question. And your questions can be answered. Your question topics are here. So let's say you want to know about your job, and so you have career, and maybe you're a lawyer, so then you have law. So you would flip over 9 and 10. And then you have 6, work. You could also flip over 6. So give you an idea of what astrologically, you should be looking at. So that's interesting. Now, let's look at the cards, because they are so beautiful. These are not in order. What drew me to this deck, and they also do the Oracle of the Moon, another gorgeous deck. The actual artist is Carolyn Smith, but I think John Astrup is no longer with us, but they were a married couple. They did some beautiful, beautiful decks with these. So let's take a look at the cards. Now, the cards have keywords. So let's say you're just starting out. Well, you could just use this as an oracle deck and just use it for the keywords: flattery, fortune, assertion, bluff, friendship. So that's one way of reading the cards, just from the keywords. Now, there's also the astrological part of it. See, we have, this one is a sun, because you got that curved thing here. It's also yellow. This is a sun card. This is a sun card. So we have 2 sun cards. We have 3 different colors here. And we'd have to look at what they are. Now this is that, I think that's the Mercury one. Let's see which one that is. Let's do the sun. So there's a number 1 or number 5, fortune. So we go into the sun, then we go into the book, and we go into the sun signs, which is the first one. And we look at number 5. That's the moon. There's fortune. Okay, so here we have the fortune card, and there's the fortune thing. Sun in Leo, and it has that's the sun sign, that's the Leo sign. So you get to know what the signs are. And it says, this is the most auspicious position for the sun in the whole deck of cards, in its own sign, Leo. Astrologically, the sun in Leo rules the 5th house. August, prestige, pride, children, and love affairs. So it gives you more about the your sun sign. When this card appears, it has provided or is about to present a great a great relieved at last feeling. Sun in Leo is not about sudden, unexpected good luck, but much more concerned with gaining the recognition or results one has been aiming for. And so it gives you a nice little summary of that card. And then let's see if it also talks about the picture. Does it talk about the picture? I know it's in one of them. It did talk about the picture. Like, in other words, it discussed these little things that were in it. Events: grand successful plan, great show of achievement, receiving recognition, a creative process, exhibition of talents, successful offspring, love affair. So this is the most auspicious one in the deck, apparently. So this is a really good card to get. And then we have, here again, we have a keyword: fortune, creativity for the Sun and the Leo, self-expression. Oh, here's a little summary. A benign sun warms the world, its great rays giving a glow of creative life to the small planet. So here we are. So here we can, they have these little things here. I didn't notice that before. A little one sentence about this picture. It's a sun radiating the heat on the earth, and it brings creative life to a small planet. Let's look at one more, like that's on here. Let's look at number, wait a minute, that was number, oh, this was number 5. Wait a minute, this was number 5, fortune. Okay, let's look at number 1. Assertion, and this is another sun card. Fortune and self-will. And here, we're just going to look at the picture and see what it says here. The knight and dragon speak for themselves. This card indicates a quality of reckless heroism and refusal to be deterred from the battle. So here again, we just can look, we get cues from the picture that you can take or leave or whatever. So it's about kind of a David and Goliath kind of story here, but someone who's very brave. So that's another thing you can use in your story or your readings. So you have, now the other thing you can use in your readings, which I'm going to show when I do a little reading of my own. So you have the planet, you have the sign, you have the keyword, you have the picture, there's a number up here, which I did use in my own reading. And so there's a lot to use with these cards. One card can tell a lot of things. Now, how you use these cards, as I said, you can definitely use the houses and just set it up this way, and then turn over the cards that have to do with your question. And it explains it in the book. So this book is really comprehensive, but it's very simple. Now, what I've been doing, I tried to read like a tarot kind of reading with a tarot spread, like the horseshoe spread that I use, and it didn't work out too well. And then I did try the houses, and that was it was hard for me because I had to keep going back and forth. I wasn't sure what I was doing, to be honest with you. I know it's hard to believe that I don't know what I'm doing. But so then I decided, well, let's do an open reading. And maybe I'll do an open reading right now because I like this card. It's a great card, so I'll do an open reading. So for me, this is what I would do in an open reading. And I did a couple of these last night, and they worked out pretty well. And with an open reading, and I also have to do another one of these. Just pull another card out. Let's put a card over here. So cards layouts and how you read the cards can be very individual. You don't have to follow what other people do. You can do your own thing. And I feel that works really well for individual people, to do your own thing, because for a lot of reasons, the way your mind works, the way your subconscious works, the way your superconscious works, it's good to just figure out how to do it yourself and try to come up with some meaning. So what I would do is I would lay 5 cards out. You could lay 3 cards. You could lay 2 cards. I don't know. But this is what I did yesterday. I had 5 cards laid out. I didn't know what they were, and I pulled this one over. Now this one has to do with what this reading is about. And so for me, it's about friendship. Now, if I wanted to look at this card again, I could say, well, it's about friendship. And let's see what the sign is on that. I don't know. I mean, I'm still learning the signs. Let's see. If you look at here, this is a moon sign. So it's over in the moon section, number 4. So here we have the friendship. And I'll read you what the picture says. Children play in a wheat field among the cornflowers. They share the delight in the flight of the heron. Below either side of a crescent moon, symbolizing fruitfulness, are 2 ancient alchemical symbols of the moon, metal and of the moon metal, silver. So this is a silver color. So whenever you see this color here, this kind of a gray, that's also a moon, signifies moon. There's also the moon there, you can see that, and that's also, that's the Cancer sign, the 69. Not sure what those two, they said what those two are. So you can get a lot of members. So I would say that this is about friendship. This is about maybe a relationship with friends of mine. So this reading for me will be about friendship. And so I'll think, okay, well, it's about friendship. And the other thing I looked at, well, I'll show you, I guess, I'm also looking at this number, and that's my kind of numerology. And 4 is a wonderful, 4 is an even keel, stable number. So it's about having stable friendships. Okay, so then we go to the next one, and we have 3. We have a 3, which shows some, it's a breakthrough possibly, or there is some unevenness associated with the 3. It's a blue, and it's also this triangle form. So I look here, and the triangle form is Jupiter. Of course, I would also know that also means Jupiter. So you have, once you know the cards, you'll know exactly what it is. So let me go to the Jupiter number 3. Number 3. And here we have bluff. And we'll talk about the picture. A Minoan goddess holds 2 butterflies. Or are they really axes? The hands show back and front, as does the professional conjurer performing a sleight of hand trick. So here we have I have a friendship, but I have a friendship that is maybe false, a false friendship coming up. Maybe this is about a false friendship that I've had. And it's something to keep in mind. And then it says here, in a reading, this card indicates a need to throw oneself into an unfamiliar situation or challenge and use one's wits to bluff through the first stage. This is not as dishonest an approach as it sounds. A brain surgeon has to make the first operation as confidently as if it were the 50th. So it's also taking chances, not knowing the outcome. So maybe I'm going to meet someone new, or have a new friendship, and I'm not sure where it's going, and I have to just throw myself into it. I'm not sure. The next card is the Sun card, the number assertion, where it's the David and Goliath situation. So maybe I'm going to meet someone, and I don't know them well, and I'm going to see them maybe as someone to be conquered. I can't imagine who that is, but you never know. And then what happens after that? Flattery. Someone's going to flatter somebody. Who's going to flatter who? Now this is, I believe, a Venus card. Yeah, there's the Venus sign right there. So number 3, let's look up number 3 in the Venus section. Flattery. This card, when this card shows up in a reading, it usually indicates to the questioner that a little amenable smooth talk will achieve far more in the current situation than a competitive wrangle. So here we have this, the fight, but here we say, no, you're better off just being sweet and calm and collected. It's interesting. What's coming up for me now is my story, that I'm writing a story, and how these 2 characters are pairing for position in their relationship. So now I'm thinking this is about my story. And Now let's take a look at this one, this picture here. Venus and Gemini. The god Janus, whose two faces look toward the past and the future, here it symbolizes the Gemini quality of talking to one person while listening to another's conversation. The spreading plant suggests the multiplicity of the Venus in Gemini nature. So what you do is you get to learn a lot with these cards. I mean, you can learn so much from not only the astrological aspect of it, but the planetary. And then you also have these numbers that are kind of cool, like this very, like a friendship. That's calming. But then you have your 3s and your 1s, which is like change. It's very, this is the male energy, the odd numbers. So we have potential here. It's about a friendship, but you see there's a lot of, there's some conflict going on here, or some stretching, or some way of standing off or standing up or standing to. There's an interesting dichotomy happening here, and that's just what I was talking to Chris about my story. I brought it up last night how I'm having trouble with it, and this expresses it beautifully. And of course, at the end, we have the success. We have 5, but that was fortune and success and the light shining on you and having an understanding of what to do. Now, curiously enough, with Chris, I was talking about the story, I had an answer for it late last night. And so this is kind of my process through my story, and then it came here to resolution. And it's a 5. Now, 5s are funny because we have a lot of odd numbers here. So now the numerology aspect you can work with or not work with, but I thought it was kind of fun. So I think this is about my story, and then the final outcome, or what I'm supposed to learn from it, is indecision. Well, I think the indecision, I've made up my mind. I think it's going to be a good idea what I did. And we have a 7, so we have 1, 3s, and 5s and 7s. Now it's indecision, but I conquered my indecision in the story. So I was indecisive, but then as I went through it, this is no longer an issue. This is another Venus card. So I don't know. I think this is a great book, a great deck for anyone. If you do tarot, I think this will be a nice complement to your tarot. If you're not sure what you may want to do, it does the astrological stuff, which is very, very easily explained, nicely explained, and there's just a lot of ways you can utilize the deck, and it's just beautiful to look at. Beautiful to look at. Let's just take a look at that card. It's just really pretty to look at. So it is available on Amazon. I think it's in the 20s, $20, $21. I don't know. This is a reprint. It was very popular. I think it was first put out in the 1990s, and then it went out of print for a little bit, and it was reprinted again. So now it is available, widely available. I think it's a keeper. Last year, I think I recommended The Art of Life, which is another wonderful deck. That's a tarot deck that's also full of quotes. It's also something you could put on a mantle. It's a great reader, but it also can just be used for pulling a card a day or a card a month or a card a year, actually. But this is another great deck, I think. Well, anyways, I've been rambling on. I hope you found this interesting. I would really, I think a lot of people would appreciate this deck. You don't have to be into tarot to do it, to enjoy it. You have to have an interest in, reading cards, of course. But this also supplements and is a good primer for astrology, or as Chris would say, primer. Primer. Anyways. British. Okay. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.